We'll just start that. That's that. There, go live. And then go down to audition. And get some sound signature. There it is, folks. I can see actual sound signature in there. I don't know if it's blowing it out on YouTube. You guys want to check. Welcome to episode 32, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Turnstile, a.k.a. T-Texas Tony Turnstile, here with my ace, Dutch Chattahoochee, who looks like a professional poker player, and I can't get a read on him. Right? You're in Vegas? You're all in?
If I had my sunglasses on, yeah.
Let's go to Dutch Cam. Let's minimize this, and then I can look at OBS. Baseball hotline, call anytime with your baseball hot takes. We have what you can't see, because it would be a reproduction without rights. Serie Del Caribe going in the corner. Presently, what's that, 4-3? Mexico's got runners on second and third. It's a tall order going up against the Dominican Republic out of the gate in the Serie Del Caribe.
The Dominican Republic, they always have great teams, though.
Right? Like,
a lot of good players come from there.
Yeah, there's so many good, and this is, to me, this is the two heavyweights, Mexico and the Dominican. I think it's the two heavyweights in the tournament. So this is a big game. Everybody plays everybody. There's 8 teams in the Serie Del Caribe. So yeah, but we'll talk a lot of stuff today. Roadmap it. What you got, Dutch? Scotty Rolls.
Yeah, we'll talk about his Hall of Fame introduction. I said introduction.
Induction, election, however you want to phrase it. Scotty Rolls, go back to the wide shot. Scotty Rolls gets the vote. A lot of people are like, I don't know. I mean, Harold Baines is in there. There's beef with that. These guys are professional hitters. Guy was a professional glove man, good bat. I think he had an injury there. I was looking at his numbers, kind of dropped off last 7-8 years. What do I know? I can't hit a batting practice fastball, so dude's a Hall of Famer, man.
I struggle in D-bat when that ball's coming at me like 40 miles an hour.
Dude is a Hall of Famer. 1955 World Series, Brooklyn versus the Yankees. And Brooklyn just got their asses beat so many times by the Yankees. It's unreal, but that's the one they won. They won in 1955. I was checking that out. I thought it might be fun. Oh, we could just go ahead and fade out of that. The bumper. That was our bumper, folks. 1955 World Series is interesting, and I just wanted, because I don't have that well of research bits, so I was like, I wanted to dig deep in some old series. But present-day Serie Del Caribe is popping. If you're, like, everybody's like, I miss baseball. I was like, Winter Leagues have been just going. And this is the culmination of all the Winter Leagues. This is the champions, basically, like, the World Series, American League, National League playoff format. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty cool, right? That's Major League Baseball. But you don't ever get, like, you get the World Baseball Classic, but then, I'm getting echo. Let me turn the mute on here. Let's go ahead and mute that.
Oh, you had your laptop on.
Right, so...
You don't want to listen to echo? Are you sure?
So this is why I think there's so many things to love about the Serie Del Caribe, but it's like... So the World Baseball Classic, right, that's kind of like an all-star team. That's like... That's not like, the Phillies or whoever, it's just like... It's just a team made up of whatever Major League Baseball players are allowed to. Their agents are like, yeah, play. So Shohei Ohtani will be playing for Japan. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like the World Series champion in the MLB doesn't ever play the World Series champion or the Japan Series champion. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what the Serie Del Caribe is. Those aren't all-star teams. That's like the Tigres de Licey is playing the sugarcane.
Yeah.
The sugarcane. I get the name right. Let me get my tabs up. But it's they got some awesome names. This is the lineups, and these are all the champions of the Winter Leagues. How sweet is that? Let's get this. No, that's the score. What is going on here? I don't know. So here's your Serie Del Caribe. If I can pull up my word. These are the teams. These are the teams here. You got the Wildcats. The Wildcats are the Caraco champion. If you're not familiar with Caraco, not the same as Caracas, Venezuela. Caraco is the Netherlands. Okay, so that is like an island in the Caribbean that is an entity of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and they're the champion. They make it. So the Caraco League, Tigres del Lice, the Dominican Republic champion. So that's basically probably the premier winter league. Then you got the Federales, the Chiriquí, Panama champion. The Farmers are the Cuban champion, but they don't show up as Farmers. They show up on the ESPN Plus is where you want to watch this. Is the Agricultures, which is basically the Farmers. And then you've got the Cuban League champion. You've got Indios de Maguas, that's a Puerto Rican. The Indios de Maguas, Puerto Rican champion, the Berto Clemente League, Winter League. The Vaqueros de Monteria is the Colombian champion. And then you got the Caneros de los Mochis, if I'm saying that right. But basically the sugar cane farmers of Los Mochis in the Sinaloa, which is not the LMB, but the LMP. The Winter League is the Liga Mexicana Pacifica champs, and the Leones del Caracas, which is the Venezuelan champion. So that's awesome. You got 8 different leagues. They're champions, not all-star teams, and they're going to throw down in the Serie Del Caribe. Awesome baseball. So if you got TV packages and you know how to dig it up, that's a lot of winter baseball. No need to pine for baseball. College baseball's upon us also. Days away. I'm psyched about that. What are you thinking, buddy?
Say the World Baseball Classic is coming soon, too.
Oh, I know. That's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet.
But I'm excited for college baseball, too.
College baseball is going to get cooking. And
Nebraska is going to take the whole thing.
am I still echoing? I didn't mute it?
Like, I'm riding with those picks the whole season for the final 2.
All right.
Nebraska and Texas State.
Oh, man. Game went down. Let me refresh that, folks. I'm going to step out. You got to kind of like refresh the ESPN Plus page sometimes.
Okay.
But
so yeah, as I was saying, the final 2 teams in college baseball this year is going to be Texas State and Nebraska. Bank on it. So if you're into betting and you like to make money, place all your money on those 2 teams and you're guaranteed to win. If not both teams, one of them will get in there. So you're going to win some kind of money, no doubt.
Oh.
You know, I know for a fact.
That's a good point. Talk about my wagers.
Sure. I mean, or you can listen to mine right now and place your bets. So go back to Vegas, where you were at, go to college baseball, and put your money on Nebraska and Texas State.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't even know that was an option, but I'm going to go back and put $1 million on that one.
Dude, you're guaranteed to be rich. So,
all right. So the odds changed. These odds actually changed while I was in there betting the same day. So initially, I was looking at the MLB 2023 sheet, and it was like Dodgers 101 wins over under. I was like, you'd be kidding me, dude. You could have an epic season and still have like 99 wins. Like what makes them think the Dodgers are that dominant in the National League? Like, especially at this stage. Like, this was kind of like before. I can't remember if this was before or after the winter meeting. So it was like December 18th or whatever it was. But I was like, a lot of stuff shakes out. Like, that's a insane high level of gambler confidence that the Dodgers are just going to be this unbeatable force. I mean, the Padres took them down. Like, there's a lot of variables happening in the NOS. So I was like, okay, 102 wins you got to have to be over. I went up to make the bet, and they go, dude, the line moved. It's 99.5. So I'm like, well, that's kind of like the same logic. I win the bet if they're not a 100-win team. I lose the bet if they're a 101-win team because it was like or a 100-win team. So I was like, dude, that's still an insane season. I think they're a good team, and I think they probably will go to the playoffs. But I was like, dude, so I laid money on the Dodgers to go under 100 wins. Let's bet 1. That's a good bet. I think I bet $200 on that.
So like to win that bet, there's only like it's either 100. So 100 and up, and then 100 and like 99 and below, right? Those are the 2 options.
Yeah, I'll pay like probably when I walk away, it'll be about. What does this pay? 296. I'll walk away with like $400 on a $200 bet if they're under 100 wins.
It's not bad. You double your money.
I thought it was good odds. The other one I got is Rangers, Texas Rangers to win the World Series. Was 50-1. 50-1.
You're not going to win that one. But if you do, you can win some money.
Probably not, but they're spending like they want to win one. The Rangers being the doormat in the AL West is they're signing a lot of dudes. They got some pieces. So
they got the guy from the Mets, right? DeGrom or something.
They got DeGrom.
Yeah.
They did some big signings. Like, don't sleep on. Let's look at the.
I could definitely see them as a playoff team this year, right?
Yeah,
I
think they're a wild card team, and anything can happen.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're going to win any playoff games or advance past the first round, but yeah, they're definitely. I can see them going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they got Nathan Eovaldi from Boston, 2 years, $34 million. You got DeGrom for 5 years. DeGrom's kind of like I don't know what you do with injuries. Andrew Heaney. Martin Perez, like they got, and you already got Simeon and Sager. Like you got some dudes. You got Kumar Rocker. You got Leiter in the minors. There's some pieces.
Is that what's his name, son or something?
Al Leiter's son, Jack Leiter. Yeah. I think he did Tommy John. I can't remember what happened with the Jack Leiter situation because he was such a gasser, and then I wasn't really following his minor league workups, but. I don't know if there's like he did Tommy John, but yeah, he was playing with Frisco Rough Riders. His numbers weren't like insane, like he was unhittable, but I think he underwent surgery. But I'm guessing at that. I haven't followed Jack Leiter. I just was psyched about the pick. He was unhittable at Vanderbilt. So anyway, Rangers to win. I get what's that pay? 20. It's like 2,800. No, I get 25. I get 2,500 Rangers win the World Series. That's a bet. Here's the one I thought the odds were off on, and I think this one was like 5 to, or this was like 6-1. Judge to win the home run title, and I'm like, I don't like hate Judge. I'm not a crazy Judge fan just because I'm like, as most people, if you're not a Yankees fan, you're kind of like rooting against the Yankees, and then of course, nice to see Houston took them down and all the rest of that. 5-4 ball game. Mexico pulled ahead. Series Del Caribe, man, that'd be a big win for Mexico. Really, at this stage, you just have to be one of the top 4 teams to make to the next round because it's kind of like a round robin. Everybody plays everybody. But, I mean, you're sending a statement if you beat the Dominican team, you know? So, 6-1. Judge was like the next closest dude, I think, in like all of MLB was like 20 homers less than Aaron Judge. There was a lot of scandal with maybe the MLB was feeding special balls into Yankee Stadium. But dude's humongous, has tons of power, is getting more versed in how Major League Baseball is trying to pitch him, and Yankee Stadium is a flipping porch. So he's got everything in his favor to repeat as the home run champion, in my opinion. So if you're if it was 2-1, I think the odds are really 2-1. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but I think it's a bet if you're giving me 6-1. Like he's going to have to be, unless he gets injured, he's going to have to be one of like the top 3. So he's going to be in the running. It should be 3-1, but it's not. It was 6-1. It's a good bet.
You know who my money would be on this year?
Who's that?
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Vladdy was in the hunt last year, but he was like 30 behind, like 20 behind Judge.
I know his home runs have gone down in the last couple of years, but like this year, come back. He's going to hit more home runs than he did last year. He
is, and you might want to check out, if you're looking, look at like I guess it's the Rogers Center. It was the Sky Dome.
Yeah.
They redid the configuration. Like it's different dimensions now, and I think it's going to lead to more dingers.
Because the Rogers are a ball-in cell phone company in Canada.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, Rogers.
I was wondering about.
Yeah.
I think it's the Rogers. They're always like doing something with hockey, but I forget. But the point is, I think they made it more Vladdy friendly. So maybe so. He's playing in a dome. Turn it into the Homer Dome.
I want to go to that stadium because like they also have that hotel that looks onto the field.
The Sky Dome. People will get nasty up there. Yeah. Games are boring.
So you could technically like go just rent a hotel and just watch the game from there for free, sort of. I mean, I guess it's more expensive to stay in a hotel than buy a ticket. But
when we make it, when we finally get a sponsor, Dr. Pepper.
I've been pushing for Monster and Mountain Dew for a while. So if you're listening, I love you guys.
Send us to the Sky
Mountain
Dome.
Dew.
We want to stay in one of the hotel rooms.
Sponsored by, and when we're staying in a hotel room, we have a unlimited supply of Monster and Mountain Dew.
That works for me.
Frostbite, what's up? Good.
So I don't know. This is what our cams look like today. Of course, I'm in charge of controlling them, which sucks because I forget about it. So if I can just keep it on one, we're probably in good shape. But we'll go see what the YouTube looks like. Some echo issues there. Looks like looks like a TV. Looks like a podcast to me. Feel free to call the Magic Jack.
I remember to crank up that volume this time on the channel, the phone channel.
The phone channel, and then we got OBS. OBS looks good. So that's channel 1. That's our main channel right there. I hope you like the studio. Notice above Dutch the Beto art, the Andy Brown original art. I made sure to at least get that framed in there. You got Tom Seaver. That's a good shot. I've got a frag grenade here on the table. Some Grand Royal magazines. It's very eclectic the way I like it. And then here's the me shot. And you can kind of see, but we're getting the glare. If we could block out the windows, we're getting the glare on my Ren and Stimpy and Beastie Boys playing Tiger Stadium. And then we got, bam, there's the Dutch shot.
I got my own shot now.
Yeah, the Dutch shot.
I know
got the red phone in there. And you got Nolan Ryan over your shoulder and Ryan Flores autograph. So pretty much winning. That's the show right there. What do you think, bud? We should roll into what first?
Let's just do Scott Rolls, I guess, because I feel like you have a lot to talk about on the other topics.
Well, let's do Scott Rolls. I'll pull the stats. You just go, and I'll just throw some stuff at you.
So my gripe with Scott Rolls, right, is he was a great player. Obviously, he was, but I don't feel like he's Hall of Fame worthy, man.
Scott Rolls.
Right.
Let me find here's my Scott
I mean,
Rolls.
he had good numbers, but I just don't think they're Hall of Fame worthy right now. I feel like there's other more deserving guys.
Yeah,
And to me, and obviously I've said this before, but until they put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, can whatever. I don't know. I like the Hall of Fame, but like they put this guy in, like he's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, so he had good stats. Like, he had like what?
Yeah.
How many home runs? He had over 316 home runs. He had over 2,000 hits. So I mean, those are good numbers, but I feel like there's more deserving players, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, the Pete Rose thing was the gambling. And I kind of understand why they did it. But, like, if you're the all-time hits leader, like, statistically you should be in there. And then, like, the statistical argument with, like, I don't know, did Fred McGriff not make it? Or does the Crime Dog made it, I think. So, I don't know. There's probably certainly guys with more dingers. I don't know,
I will say.
Roland was good. Good glove man. Really solid. Always solid.
What was cool is when I was reading about him earlier, he was like one or two third baseman that's only ever played third base in the pros. That was like his only position.
It's the only position. Second round out of high school. Phillies, second rounder.
And I'm not hating on Scott Rolls. I like Scott Rolls, so it's cool that he got in. But you know what I'm saying? It was just a weird pick right now, right?
Went right to the minors. Rookie A, AA, AAA show. Age 18 to 21, right to the pros. Fast. I mean, it wasn't on a fast track. I mean, he's a second rounder, but lived up to it. I mean, very solid. Rookie of the year.
He played for almost
21
20 years.
homers his rookie year. I mean, a great rookie season. And then he was really solid. He was like a 270, 280 hitter pretty much. And to get that kind of just 20, 30 homers, get your 80 to 100 bibs. Solid.
I mean, he played career. 17 years from 96 to 2012?
Yeah.
Time. So, do you think he's more of a St. Louis guy or a Philly guy? Because he played for a long time for both teams.
Yeah, that's one of those ones. I don't know what uniform you get inducted in. I would say probably he's going to go in as a Philly guy because that's who drafted him and brought him up, and he played there for so long. And I want to say they won the World Series with him. right? 2008 World Series.
Because this is just like from my point of view, because I'm a little younger than you.
He was with St. Louis.
I always remember him as a Cardinal, just because like that's when I was a teenager.
Yep.
And when he was drafted in the mid '90s, I was only 10 in '96. I really wasn't into baseball hardcore yet, but I remember him in high school being for the Cardinals.
Not flashy. That's the what works against Rolen. You know, you get mixed in with a bunch of 30, 40 home run guys there in St. Louis or Philly, and you're just there showing up every day, punching the clock, picking up ground balls, and playing the hot corner.
Could you imagine though, like if it was like Ozzie Guillen at shortstop and him at third?
Yeah.
That would have been a nice little corner there, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody would have got a base hit on those guys.
Well, Ozzie Guillen was a good glove man. Wild guy, Ozzie. He's got some strong opinions, does Ozzie. But yeah, Rolen, I don't really know where I sit on it. I know some people have beef with dudes that aren't in. And I don't know. You know, these guys, they get forgotten in time. Like honestly, there's dudes.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because technically, I think he was like he didn't get in trouble for the bet, like he was never found guilty. I think, right? Something like
yeah.
That. So technically, since he was proven innocent, he should be in.
Yeah, there's like that, and like you've yet to see the 8 Men Out film.
No, I've heard about it, and I've been meaning to watch it for a long time. I just never.
I highly recommend it. I don't know who directed that movie, but it was like. Because it's in like 1919, so you have to get all the sets right. You know, everybody's got to wear the clothes
those
in the
heavy baseball
cars.
jerseys.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, see, and everybody's got to you got to throw it way back in time. You got to take the time machine. So the way they did.
I'm still crossing my fingers, and America goes back to that time at some point. Because like, dude, it's fucking cool. The language, the way they talked, and the way like people when they went to sporting events was suits. Man, people wore suits.
If we could do all that without the horrible segregation, that would be...
obviously.
That's always like, because I am a big, like, I love the baseball from, like, that era, but it just has...
The 50s were solid.
Yeah, like, before integration, and even for many years after integration, there's just, like, the kind of, it's just, that's always the asterisk on it, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy like all the dudes like Honus Wagner and go back and enjoy baseball history and get too guilty about it. It was what it was. It wasn't right, but you can still go back and look at the games that were played. So, but yeah, 8 Men Out's a really well done movie.
That's the one about the scandal, right?
Yeah, it's about how it was fixed, how gamblers fixed it, and the players that got in on it, and it wasn't entirely clear, you know, which players, like Bucky Weaver's thing was, he's like, dude, I wasn't in on it. And look at my stats. I hit like 300, made all these plays in the field. So, and the money didn't really, like the dudes didn't get paid even. If you're like a starting pitcher, you got tons. If you were like a big hitter, but like, anyway.
I feel like there were some dudes that did it because they were like, they weren't guaranteed baseball money or whatever. You know, they were getting more to fix the game. As opposed to playing.
The big.
So they were like, why not?
The big.
You know, like I'm not gonna be here next year anyway. Might as well make some money.
Well, the storyline was Charlie Kaminsky was just a horrible owner. He was always just penny pinching.
Comiskey Park, right?
It's named after him, but not a popular owner. Certainly with the players, all those guys were like, how can we squeeze as much baseball out of these guys and pay them as little as possible? So there's no free agency at the time. It was interesting. It's a really good movie with a lot of good actors in it. Anyway, but yeah, the gambling thing. But I guess here's my take on the Hall of Fame and Scotty Rolls. I think that's great. Whoever gets in, for dudes that aren't in that should be in, at the end of the day, I think it's kind of a tourist trap. It's a great tourist trap. Go. Like I've been out there. It's fun. It's a really cool town.
I want to go for sure.
Oh man, Cooperstown is like upstate New York's flipping gorgeous. So it's a great town. It's gorgeous, and the Hall of Fame is super cool. Like there's so much cool memorabilia in there and the way they've done it. So it's neat. But at the end of the day, a bunch of sports writers voting, and I know that goes on social media like, look what this guy voted for. This guy didn't vote at all, or this guy voted for somebody ridiculous, and everybody wants to. So it's imperfect science on who, like dudes like, I mean, like Roberto, I don't know. Like there's guys like Griffey, and I don't know what the votes are, and Roberto Clemente aren't getting like unanimous votes. You're like, dude, like, why didn't you vote for guys like that? You know, it's like guys that should be unanimous aren't unanimous, and it's kind of a clown show on some of the ballots. So at the end of the day, tourist trap. If you do get in, you don't get in. It's less than perfect. You know, it's the Disneyland of baseball, really.
Vida Blue's going to get in one day.
Vida. Vida Blue, forever legend. When he's just, we talked about him on that show, and then we looked up that quote where he's like, "I hope Charlie Finley drops dead," and then he played for him next year.
That's my kind of dude right there.
Yeah, don't pull punches on your own. Just trash talk your owner.
I like honesty of baseball players. I don't like when people's like, well, you know, he's a great owner. No, if you don't like him, like, fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, just blow him out, and then he's like locked into the contract, so he still played for him next year. But yeah, Vida Blue should be in the Hall of Fame just for that quote, telling his owner he should drop dead.
Like, if you remember, what was his name? The manager for the White Sox, Guzman, or what was it?
Ozzie Guillen?
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah.
That dude right there, man. That dude always ran his mouth, had stuff to say. Wasn't he a Fidel Castro person?
I can't remember. He might have got political at one point, but he was a great shortstop, and yeah.
I just realized that I got Ozzie Smith. And
that's what I was wondering what you were saying.
I was like, Ozzie Smith.
Both good Aussies at shortstop, but nobody beats Ozzie Smith, man, the wizard.
That dude has some hops.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, I think he's talking about Ozzie.
I meant to say Ozzie Smith,
but I wasn't sure because Ozzie Guillen was a hell of a shortstop. So
you know, I have a baseball card that I got. So I bought these packs from Walgreens, and they had random cards in there because they're from a third party. And I got an Ozzie Guillen card from when he was a player, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Certain positions make good managers. You know, shortstops involved, but you never know. You know, catchers. I think Bruce Bochy was a catcher with his huge head. But, you got Serie Del Caribe and WBC coming up. This is baseball crazy 2023, really, is what's going on. So
the Rays going to the World Series, yeah.
You gotta lay that bet. I gotta get these stuck up on the wall. But
my biased opinion is on the Rays, but real opinion, I don't know.
Yeah. I can't really do a college. There's no way you can do a college baseball preview because of transfer portal, so many teams, dudes graduating, dudes are graduate transfers, guys finding teams. UTSA looks great to me, but like I mean, to deep dive on the entire conference or entire conferences is really
UTSA mug over here.
And this show is too wide-reaching to get down to. What you're going to do is like follow the teams here locally and see what the records are. Mexico hanging on to a 1-run lead.
You just got a 6 sombrero and poncho on. I want that.
I mean, that stadium, I'm not sure if that's the one in Caraco, but it's a massive stadium that they built. I was reading on it. It's like seats 40,000. There must be like 400 people there. Like the entire thing is empty.
There's not a lot of people, yeah.
If you can get on a plane and get there, you'll see some great baseball. But checking out ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes doing a great job. Kind of stuff we'd like to see. But yeah, college baseball's coming up. Can't really give anybody a preview. A lot of dudes transferred, a lot of this and that. You just got to follow the teams and follow it and try to find the games on ESPN Plus where you can and enjoy it.
I will preview though some teams.
Yep.
That I like.
I know you're liking Nebraska
and Texas State.
Have you looked at University of Nebraska baseball stats lately? Those like do them a service. My experience is Darren Erstad of University of Nebraska baseball. Let's take a look at some studs out there. See what their stats were last year. Since Dutch Chattahoochee is pushing stats. I don't even know. I think they have a cool field because I remember somebody hitting a home run there and it like smashed a car window. But all right, 303. Who hit the most ding dongs? 10 dingers. This is who you're talking about. Max Anderson, only a sophomore, led the team in dingers. 6 feet, 195, hometown, Omaha, Nebraska. Keep your eye on Max Anderson.
Shout out to Omaha.
Yep, do. But 40 bibs. How many base on balls, though? Who's leading in base on balls? Holy smokes, 37. What's this man's on-base percentage? 425?
So last year, since you're looking up stats right now.
Yep.
Last year they went 23 and 30, right? Well, this year they were gonna flip that. They might go 30 and
5'9", 195. Cam Chick. That's a cool ass name, but that dude gets on base. They're gonna be down in Texas. They're playing Sam Houston.
Yeah, Max.
I think at home.
Max Anderson is definitely the stud.
Cam Chick's getting on base. Anyway, Nebraska and Texas State's going to be good again. Jose Gonzalez out there hitting ding-dongs. So, no, there's no preview. I just smack talk. But good for Scott Rollen. I don't have any hot takes one way or the other. It's a tourist trap. Go check it out until I open the competing wide world of baseball artistry in Seguin, Texas. People can come check out our knockoff Hall of Fame because I'm all about competing.
Seguin's going to be a college summer league baseball powerhouse in a couple of years.
Yeah. Here's a. I can get into a diatribe. Can I bump music into logos on Major League Baseball uniforms and just predict the future for everybody in 10 years?
Yes, because I have opinions on that too.
All right, let's go. Let me go
discuss
to Turnstile Cam, and then I'm going to pick some bump music in here and get into it. That's perfect. I don't know. Let me look at the sound signature. We're going to talk about logos on unis and the puritanical takes. Traditional takes on what people think should be for MLB, which, a lot of U.S. sports aren't logoing up the jerseys the way Premier League does, or for that matter, the LNB, LMP, any of these other teams. You look at any other league, including Japan, there's a lot of logos. And I think that's coming. I think it's inevitable. As inevitable as the Colorado River cutting the Grand Canyon into planet Earth. In 10 years, there's going to be logos all over the uniforms. And I'm not against it. And I'll tell you why.
Why is that?
The number one reason is the original sin, frankly, and again, a lot of rule changes. I understand dudes used to play like out in a random field and didn't even have baseball gloves in the 1800s. And they're like, you just got to lob it in there to hit them, to hit. And dudes started trying to curve the ball.
Isn't there a sport, though, called handball?
Well, handball's completely different.
Yeah,
You're like using a wall.
What I'm saying is, like, you could have called handball baseball in the beginning.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there have been many, many rule changes. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
I'm very averse to change. And I'm no secret how I'm just never going to get over the universal DH because you flipping had it, dude. You had, I don't know, man.
It's over, though. Like, it's cool.
It's over.
It's cool now. Like, I don't mind. I've gotten over it. I've moved past it.
I'll never get over it because you have the DH. You had the DH in the American League. You had it. Like, it was gold. The idea that it's going to get, like, more over-the-hill hitters, jobs, it's not. You had pinch hitters in the National League like Matt Stairs, and you created this whole other angle of baseball with crappy hitting pitchers, and it was very unique, and I think it created a lot of really cool moments. You got big Bartolo Colon hitting homers and just, like, dudes that can't hit the bat getting walked. Like, it just you've taken it and homogenized baseball. You're just, like, sterilizing it, making it super clean, and I understand you're trying to sell a product. I don't think the universal DH moved the needle one bit. It didn't sell. More people aren't watching. Less people aren't watching. It did nothing other than take away a feature of the game, and you might get more dingers. I'm sure you probably will. To what end? I don't know. I mean, I just think there's weird stuff that would happen to the pitcher, and it was an automatic out most of the time. But that's why when something happened, it had a much more, like, whatever you weren't getting in offense, you're getting an interest and exciting value when something abnormal happened. That's, 1 out of 20 times, it was still kind of worth that rather than just another double in the gap. That's one man's opinion, but because I view that as such a unforgivable sin by Major League Baseball to do that, now we've gone down. It's over. I'm just old man yelling at the cloud. I get that.
You're like you're like the guy in the YouTube comment section who's, like, bitching about shit. I'm just like, get over it. Like I understand it sucks, but like it happened already.
Never, I can't do it.
It's like it's long gone. Like nothing.
There's nothing I can do about it. But because you don't give a shit about baseball, right? So why is it somehow sacred that the Yankees don't have shit slapped all over their uniforms? Like they're just like, dude, if it's a business, it's a business, and you don't care, you don't care. Look at I think they're kind of cool. Look at all that stuff on those jerseys.
See, that's why I don't have a problem with logos on teams, because if it's a business, then what's wrong with putting another business on there? Yeah. Right?
The amount of money you could generate, like Formula One makes so much money selling all those stickers all over the cars, and Major League Baseball has the opportunity to do that with putting stuff on pants, on stirrups, on hats, on jerseys, and then those jerseys are getting sold in stores. It's just millions, if not billions, sitting on the shelf and saying, see that huge pile of stack, do you want it? And ultimately Major League Baseball is going to say every other team does, and yes, we are. So they're sticking their toe in the hot tub of the NBA and all these other ones, but it's coming, and it's going to be I don't care. I don't care.
So check this out. I got this idea. Well, not an idea.
And it's coming.
So you know like how the Rays are sponsored by Tropicana Orange Juice, so they're Tropicana Field?
Yep.
So I think, honestly, that would look cool if they had a Tropicana Orange Juice logo on their jersey. But check this out. What if they had, like, a jersey they wore, special occasions throughout the season, home games. They had, like, a Tropicana Orange Juice orange Rays jersey that they wore.
Yeah.
That would look sick. Like, say it was, like, an orange jersey with, like, that powder blue Rays team logo color outlined in yellow. That would look sick.
Right. The more crazy things you can do with jerseys.
It would almost look like the when Miami Marlins were orange. It would look something like that. Like, that'd be fucking cool.
So you know how like the Stanford mascot is a tree?
Yeah.
Did you see that crazy ass like Christmas sweater baseball jersey they did with the Christmas tree on the front of it for the baseball team?
No.
I retweeted it. Check it out.
I'm sure I saw it, but I don't
insane,
remember.
But you can do a lot of fun stuff with the jerseys. And since Major League Baseball doesn't really like baseball or care about baseball, dude, why are you not maximizing your dollars by slapping stuff all over the uniforms?
Let's be honest. A Boston Red Sox jersey with a Dunkin' logo on it, that would be sick.
Yeah, just put donuts all over it. It's coming. I mean, and then you can look back to the days of old. Yeah. So sponsorships on bats, on balls.
I mean, soccer's been doing it forever.
Yeah. It's smart business if it's a business, and it is.
Plus, it just adds more flavor to the jersey. Like, it makes it cooler,
Well, I guess I would say it like this. So because we don't have a bunch of logos all over, like I got, Bob Gibson jersey, like these very clean MLB jerseys. I got my Griffey jersey. Like, those are sweet. And when I went to Mexico City and went to the Diablo Rojos game, I got a jersey because to me it was like kind of different. I was like, oh, it's cool. Look at all these logos, Telemex. It's got all these like Mexican companies I haven't heard of, and I just like the logos made it different and therefore kind of cool. But once that difference is taken away and it's just logo town everywhere, I mean, people will still buy Boston Red Sox jerseys and all that stuff, but
yeah, you're a diehard fan. Fans of the team in general will.
Traditions and the old way of doing baseball it doesn't even matter anymore. Frankly, it's about bombs. It's about homers and offense.
I do wish they would keep the traditional rules, but like I also don't mind adding in like logos of companies on jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, so it's changing, and I'm just an old codger screaming about it. So I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the Japanese game and Series Del Caribe in the Mexican leagues. So much fun. They holding on. They're going to pull this out. I think it was the 9th.
Oh, Mexico?
Yeah. I think they're trying to close it here.
Mexico might win. Bottom of the 9th, they're up 5-4.
5-4.
Yeah.
Mexico holding on against Licey.
That's my pick in this series.
Bobby Valentine played for the Licey Tigers.
Like, I got Mexico winning the whole series.
And according to Bobby Valentine's personal accounts of playing baseball in Dominican, how much the owners gambled between each other, and they would like incentivize, like, dude, if you get a hit this game, it's like $200. RBIs worth 150. So like players would have their salary, but then they would like if they had a great game, they get tons more, which was probably getting paid out of the winnings that owner bet against the other owner. So I'm wondering if the Series Del Caribe is some kind of crazy like backroom Bond villain gambling scene at some mansion in the hills. You know, dudes are just wagering all kinds of wild stuff. That would be the fun of it. Anyway,
The first player to take off his hat to adjust it.
yeah.
$20.
So that's rolling and logos on unis. Do we need bumper music into? Do you want to talk some 1955 World Series or?
Sure.
I got that, and the 1955 World Series leads into kind of a conversation on, like if you, I know more probably about the Mariners than anybody because I was there and I watched Alvin Davis and Steve Balboni and Pete O'Brien and Phil Bradley and Jim Presley and Spike. Like I can just name dudes that people were like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. But they're not fresh in your memory like the way they are when you're there.
I'm sure you can name players where I'm like, who's that?
Exactly. But the Mariners sucked. But we had all these dudes, and I remember getting the cards and going to the Kingdom. So it was just like, but then when I look back at the 1955 World Series Game 1 rosters, it's got the names you remember. It's got the Yogi Berra, it's got the Jackie Robinson, it's got the Pee Wee Reese. But then you look at the lineup and there's dudes in there. You're like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? Because you weren't there, and it's kind of interesting. Mickey Mantle, I believe, was injured, and starting in the center field in that case was Irv Noren. I was like, I've never heard of Irv Noren, but that's because I'm not that well versed on, guys that were platoon players from the 50s. But I bet you anybody who was there was like, oh yeah, dude, that guy was awesome. And he kind of was. But 1955 World Series Game 1, there's about I don't know, me and Dutch watched like a 10-minute little highlight reel.
Yeah, about 10 minutes.
Of that. And I'll put the camera on you, let you go first on what you thought was kind of funny about watching that highlight reel, because a lot of things stood out to me. And I knew Yankee Stadium was huge in left center, but I guess I didn't realize it was like 450 plus in the gap. 450 in the gap. And I seen somewhere they're like, here's what DiMaggio's numbers would have been if he didn't play in Yankee Stadium. But yeah, that was crazy. What stood out to you just watching that highlight reel?
Here's what I took away. Is the wall, dude. The center field wall, the outfield wall was
it was
so
like
low.
2 feet high.
It was like to their waist.
Yeah, it was like below the waist, honestly. It was like if you were sitting down in a stadium seat, you could, I guess, just see over it is what they were thinking. I don't know why it was crazy low.
I'm sure there was plenty of times where like someone hit a ball at the outfield and they tried to catch it and he fucking flipped over that wall.
Yeah.
Kind of like how they do now in like foul territory.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was plenty of those. But I wonder if you could say a ball was, you were playing outfield.
Yeah.
And the ball was coming to you. Could you stand on top of the wall and like jump up?
I don't know. There's that one play. It looked like
that'd be fucking cool, dude.
Was it like Duke Snider was out there trying to like rob a home run on the scoreboard and like some chain link? It was take a look at that fence in Yankee Stadium in 1955. It's interesting.
Because was it right field that was only like 200-something feet? Like it was.
It's like 296 down right, but then it's like 357 or 457 to
it did like just
left center.
It almost looked the field kind of looked like a chart.
Yeah.
Like going down, like because it's really deep out there. It's 400 feet, and then it just slowly goes down. Like left field was like 400 feet, center field was like 300 something, and then right field was like 200.
Yeah,
it was just like
it was
short as fuck.
It was wild.
I feel like I could hit a home run in that stadium for 200 feet.
I don't know, man. It was, the house that Ruth built had some really crazy dimensions. But yeah, check out that little. It was only 10 minutes of your day on the 1955 Game 1. Again, like Brooklyn just would go to the World Series and lose the Yankees almost every time, but they got over the hump in 1955 in a 7-game series. And I don't know if that's part and parcel because Mantle was injured or what the recipe was, but they pulled it off. But they lost Game 1, and it was a great game, 6-5, back and forth, number of homers hit. One thing you mentioned was, like, look, everybody's wearing suits
at the game,
the game, and is Also having a smoke, which I don't think you can do anymore.
The fans are, they're all there smoking, dude. That's fucking cool
entire
shit.
fan base is puffing on heaters. The tobacco industry doing well with their marketing.
If the missions were letting me smoke at the stadiums, I'd be out there smoking too.
Like it was so
cool,
constant. It was like in every shot that people were smoking that I think, because I can't stand like being around smokers, you know.
Yeah, I can't either.
And
yeah.
it's like, I feel like if you're at a stadium at that time, it was just like you had to be used to it every minute of your life.
I'm sure everybody smoked. Everybody smoked.
Everybody smoked. So that, and then it's like if you're going to the ballpark, you know, these days you might throw on a collared shirt and some shorts, some Crocs.
Yeah.
Not in 1950, man.
That's like me when I go. I just wear a t-shirt and shorts. I don't.
You're putting on a tie.
I do, dude. I would love to go to a game in a suit, full-on suit, and just see the people's reactions.
I kind of wanted to like call games in Seguin, you know, dressed up in character,
It's
and
too hot.
my alter ego, and just be like, bro, dude, I can't. It's 100. I was up there in like shorts. I'd throw on the get up for a post game, but dude, I don't know how you do it. You ever see the?
I wasn't out there enough times to build character.
Did you ever see the photo of Harry Carey in the press box?
In his underwear.
He has like boxers with like a fishing net.
I saw that the other day.
That was like what I want to do. Just have boxer shorts up in the booth.
He had a white tank top on
and recreate that. I need to get some white boxers and try to recreate that this summer. The Harry Carey shot.
He was like, it wasn't because he was trying to be funny. It was just fucking hot.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. That's going on the list. I'm gonna write that down and mention that to Mike tomorrow. That would be so funny. It's such an iconic shot.
This year, hopefully, I'll be able to go to more games.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I gotta call Mike P. I gotta call that dude so bad. Just thank him for last season. See if we can get him this year.
Oh, the dude with that took a lot of the cool photographs.
Yeah, Mike Perrin was really great baseball guy. The stadium dimensions. Everybody's smoking. Everybody's suited up, and then you get into game one. Whitey Ford versus Don Newcomb, one of my favorite hitting pitchers. Also,
I love that name, Newcomb.
Chunichi Dragon. It's a Chunichi Dragon. Other random factoids about Don Newcomb. And you kind of get this. I get information about this because probably in his Saber bio, but it was in the Bobby Valentine book. And it was like he had a player who had issues with like drinking when Valentine was a manager. And Don Newcomb, I think part of his career was kind of like ended shortly because he was an alcoholic and had issues with that. And then he cleaned up and got sober and would sometimes like kind of like consult or be brought in to like mentor, talk to other players who are having issues with alcohol abuse or something like that. But Newcomb wasn't like the soft touch. He would just like chew your ass. Like you need to stop drinking. Look what it did to my career. And I don't know how receptive some guys were to it. I kind of remember that in the Valentine book. But Don Newcomb, great athlete, great hitting pitcher. So Whitey Ford versus Don Newcomb. Yanks win it, but there's some dingers in that game. Eddie Collins hit 2.
I'm saying Phil Collins' dad.
And saying we'll get back to Irv Noren because his Carl Furillo hit an Oppie bomb.
Dude, like Don Newcomb has the sweetest last name, especially for a pitcher. Because if he,
I'm sorry, Joe Collins. What's it? Eddie Collins. Joe Collins hit 2 bombs there. And Collins was kind of a part player there for the Yanks for about 10 years. Never hit more than 18 homers in a year. But hit 2 in that game. Very clutch. Ultimately came to none. But 5 times World Series winner. If you're hanging around the Yankees, you're collecting some rings. But Joe Collins, very serviceable player. Carl Furillo hit one for Brooklyn, I think leading off of Whitey Ford in the first. And Furillo hit some very famous home runs. I can't remember exactly what, but solid guy. Led the league in hitting one year, 344. Carl Furillo did. Solid guy. I think Furillo was
Mexico
outfielder,
just won the
right
game,
fielder.
by the way. They just closed it out.
They closed it out?
Yeah, they won.
Look at that. They're sponsored by Formex I don't know what that is. It also looks like the WW, but yeah.
The guy that interviewed him was like, "Yeah, we kicked their ass. What's up? We're good."
We can just switch over, honestly, if you feel there, because like the schedule goes, the next game up on the schedule is.
So speaking of Don Newcomb, while you're looking up your thing, his last name's Newcomb, right? So if he was like a badass, like if you could throw some heat, you'd be like, "Hey, Don, you gonna nuke him?" Right? Like, ha ha ha. He's gonna nuke him with his fastballers. Because he throws heat, right? Like a nuke. He's going to nuke him.
This will be a good game. Yeah, Newcomb can nuke him.
Like, I thought that's the coolest last name ever for a pitcher.
So you got Colombia, the Cowboys, Monterrey Cowboys versus the Indians, Mayaguez. So that'll be a good game. Puerto Rico versus Colombia, both good leagues. And that's the next game. We just got to switch over to the Series Del Caribe. So, yeah, you got Joe Collins jacking two homers. Other things I noticed about that first game is there were in the highlights, there are 2 attempted steals of home plate. One by Billy Martin, and Billy Martin was a really good player, a fiery manager, but a good second baseman. There was a sweet double play also turned in that game. But Martin's jumping around third, steals home. I mean, you don't have the same replay technology we have, but they do slow down the film and kind of freeze frame it and show it a few times. I thought Martin might have got a toe in. He might have been safe, but it was so close. But the catcher like kind of got out there, and it's really hard angle for the home plate umpire, called him out. And then Jackie Robinson stole later.
The legend that is.
The legend of Jackie Robinson stole later, and Yogi Berra will still talk about that play. He's a super competitive guy, but he's like, dude, he was out. He was so out.
You could see in the footage that the ball hit the glove before Jackie Robinson's foot even touched home plate.
Yeah, and it was like Yogi was so good at his position. It's hard to realize like how good that dude was as a catcher, and he learned from Bill Dickey, but and the film is good enough that they slow it down. So in Yogi just playing a million games of baseball chess in his brain was probably like he knows Jackie might try it. So he's already on edge. He sees him go, I'm sure, out of the cornering eye. An excellent technique, which like I don't know what you do if the hitter swings there. That's catcher's interference. He completely steps across home plate to meet the ball, which is awesome technique. And I think in Yogi's mind, he's like, it's a called play, so the hitter isn't swinging. I'm going to cheat up and get the ball so I can get the tag down. The hitter's like, it's still a live pitch. Like, he can swing, and I don't know what the catcher's interference rules were in 1955, but Yogi's like across the plate to meet the ball.
I do miss the days when players could plow into the catcher.
Yeah.
I thought that
was pretty hardcore.
I mean, granted, it's I guess it is better now because you're not going to get hurt as much. But yeah, dude, back then you'd see some crazy ass.
Yeah, some crazy ass stuff. But
especially when players would use their cleats, like they would slide right into the catcher with their cleats.
Yeah, phenomenal technique from Berra to come out to meet the ball. And the only thing you could ask him to do more, but it's such a bang play, would be to like maybe get his knee down and completely block the play. But it looked like to me like for Yogi, he comes out to meet the ball and then gets the glove down right on the front edge of the plate. So if you're going to touch on plate, you're going to have to slide into his glove, which is kind of what happens. And again, it happens super fast, but called safe. So it looked like Martin might have been safe, was called out, and it looks like Jackie Robinson might have been out, called safe, arguable in both cases, and Berra loses it. I've seen that video a million times. I guess I just never registered with his game one of the 1955 World Series, and Berra completely loses his mind. And ultimately, it doesn't matter because the Yankees won the game, but I understand why he's so upset because he's like, dude, I can't do any more from a catcher standpoint to get out Jackie Robinson because I leapt across the plate to meet the ball and then get the tag down right on the front of the plate before he could get there, and you still called him safe. Like, what? He was peed. So that was an interesting play in there. Nice double play. So very clutch hitting, and just the throwback to the crowd shots and smoking. good baseball game. Whitey Ford was relieved, went 8 innings. That was a good baseball game. I mean, I'll probably go back. Some of the old World Series, they had the whole game, but that was just like all I could find was that 10-minute.
I watched one of the games of that series when they were in L.A. Or not L.A. Where were they at?
They're Brooklyn and New York, so it was Subway Series.
So it must have not been 55 because whenever the one I was watching, they were in L.A. So it must have been like a couple years later or something.
When did they? I can't remember when they moved. When the Dodgers moved. I think it was. I think it was like late because they were in there in the 60s.
Because Jackie Robinson was still on the team and they were in L.A. It was a World Series against the Yankees, obviously, because in the 50s the Yankees ran that
yeah.
What do you call it? What is 10 years called? Fuck, dude. The decade. They ran the 50s decade.
So yeah, you're right. 58 was the first game in L.A. So the 57 season was last season in Brooklyn. They moved to.
So it must have been.
It's crazy.
I wish it would. I mean, I wasn't around, but to me, their history in Brooklyn's a lot cooler than in L.A.
It's pretty good. The Super Boss, the Trolley Dodgers.
Yeah, so I would. I don't know. I wish it would have stayed in Brooklyn. That would have been cool. Can you imagine having the Mets, Brooklyn, and New York?
Hank Bauer was on that team from the Midwest. Lenexa, Kansas is Hank Bauer. Other dudes, Duke Snider, Hall of Famer.
Slick.
400 dingers from him. He put up some great numbers. And I think the Ebbets Field was kind of a porch for lefties, but man, he was clutch. And I think Duke Snider was really big in the postseason. Let me look at Duke Snider's postseason.
I'm going to start calling Duke Snider Slick. That's his
man, he was clutch.
That's his new nickname, Slick.
Postseason batting. Oh yeah, he was big in that one. So he hit 320 and 4 home runs in the 55 World Series. So yeah, he might have been the MVP. Might have been the.
I had to switch it off. It was on me for a long time.
Was it? Okay. So yeah, Duke Snider, man, very clutch 1955 World Series. I'm not sure if he was a World Series MVP there or what, but how about that? Who else was on that team? Oh, let's go back to Irv Noren. Irv Noren, I never heard of him, but I'm not like a savant. Guy played for a lot of different teams, and his Sabre bio, I always want to give credit to the Sabre bio guys. Alan Cohen writes a phenomenal bio, gentleman by the name of Irv Noren. He's actually originally from New Jersey, Jamestown, New York, and lived there till he was 12. His father, I believe, was a native of Sweden and had a bakery. But they moved out to Pasadena, California, and Irv Noren was an awesome athlete, this guy. He played professional basketball. He played minor league basketball with guess who? Jackie Robinson. How about that for an interesting fact? So when those dudes were facing off in the World Series, he played in the minor league Los Angeles Red Devils alongside future Major League Baseball players Jackie Robinson and George Crowe. And George Crowe was also an amazing athlete, and he played with the Cincinnati Reds. And I want to say George Crowe might have also been on the Harlem Globetrotters, but
Harlem Globetrotters.
well, no, they had like amazing NBA level talent all over that. But he played basketball and all this other stuff. But he eventually got scouted, I believe, by like the Washington Senators. Went with them, and I can't remember if you can look at Irv Noren's stats. So he went to Washington and he signed with New York. But check this out: whenever they played the Yankees. And this kind of happened for me in Summer Ball one time. Whenever you played the Yankees, Irv Noren went off. He just ripped the Yankees. He hit like 500, like 10 for 21. He's like making catches in the outfield, gunning down dudes. And so every time he played the Yankees, Casey Stengel was like, oh, man, that guy's awesome. But his numbers are kind of like, they're above average. Like, he was a good player, but it wasn't like, hitting 30 homers. But whenever he played the Yankees, Irv Noren was just like, Stengel was like, that guy can play. So when his contract came up, the Yankees got a hold of him, and then he was basically their fourth outfielder. And so when Mantle got injured in 1955, it was Irv Noren in that lineup. So you're like, where's Mickey Mantle in this? Where's Mickey Mantle in this box score? It's not. It's Irv Noren, man. He's the fourth outfielder. He played in a lot of games. He got 100 something games. But heck of a ball player. And then he went on to be a coach. Irv Noren did. And after the Yankees, I think he played for St. Louis. Let's look at that. Not that it's neither here nor there. But St. Louis Cubs, he kind of bounced around back in the day when you didn't get, like, you weren't a free agent, so you didn't really move that much. But he just got dealt and traded a lot, maybe against his will. But a baseball lifer, became a coach, and he lived, believe it or not, to the ripe old age of 95. He just passed away 3 years ago. 2019, this guy.
95.
In Carlsbad, California.
Lived a while.
He lived a wild life, and his brother ran the bakery back in Pasadena, but that's a heck of a Sabre bio on Irv Noren, your center fielder, and he was dealing with knee injuries. He did not have a good series. But, yeah, that's his story. He was a veteran, Army veteran for World War II. These guys, they come back from that, and they get their careers going, played a lot of professional basketball, finally just focused on baseball, but bounced around a number of teams, was a very solid, good player. But there he shows up in that Game 1 box score. And that's my turnstile Irv Noren bit, if I can get it out of my mouth.
You keep wanting to say nerve instead of Irv.
Irving. Why don't people name their kids Irving anymore? That's my question.
Irving's quite the name. I like the name Irving.
Outro on that one? Outro on Irv? And then you just go with, you hear that? There you go. With the Mexican,
You can never go wrong with Tejano music or any kind of Latin music whatsoever. You know, Mexican music, like authentic, like Mexican music, or what do you call it? Tejano music is great.
It's all good. I love it.
Now,
I'm gonna go find the other game while you fill Eric. Can you do that for me, buddy? Because the camera's on you.
Reggaeton is not really my favorite thing. But so, do we talk about what we got planned? Because we do have a sketch coming up. Well, we haven't started shooting it yet. We have started kind of writing it a little bit.
Got some ideas.
The what do you call it?
The therapy
couch. Yeah.
Turnstile loses marbles in therapy.
I do think, and also there's some other ideas that might be coming to our little thing.
Is that tuba? We'll fade down.
I've got some ideas floating around.
I like it. I'm gonna leave this going so you can just roll that. I'm gonna find that other game real quick. I just want to keep it going. A little outro here in a bit. How long have we been going for, bud?
According to this, we have been going for an hour. So let's talk about this therapy couch session. What do you call it? Skit that we have coming up. So basically, Turnstile over here is having a life downward spiral as we speak. So basically what I plan to do is get to the bottom of it and figure out why the fuck his life is in shambles. So at that point, any emotion that you feel or want to say, just let it out, buddy. Because that's what a therapy couch is for. While I say this is a skit, I feel like it's more like just a session between two people talking.
Yeah.
Not so much a skit. I feel like you need to lay out your raw emotions.
Yeah, I think a therapy skit can be really good, especially if you work that dialogue. I've seen a few therapy skits that are pretty hilarious if you get the Q&A right.
If you need to cry,
with punchlines. Yeah, I'll definitely cry.
Like, don't even think about a skit. Just go.
The true pain of my real life. I don't even need to act.
They're like, man, dude, he was so good at that part. He acted well.
Like, no, his life is really.
That wasn't acting, dude. That was just his
life is really falling apart.
He sat down one day and we did that whole thing in one take.
It's so true.
But you also have what? 3 kids? Yeah, 3 kids.
3 kids, and my beef this week was, Texas is not built for cold weather, but my whole beef was this week is the snowy ice that destroyed DFW. It really didn't reach down to San Antonio and mess us up like that. So I felt like they were just like, and I understand err on the side of caution. You don't want to watch people get in car wrecks. But at what point do you call off the dogs and be like, I guess we didn't really get it that bad. Let's just get back to normal. Because we canceled school for 2 days, and I was like, dude, I drove around both days. It wasn't really a problem, so
like I follow this page on Instagram called Deep Ellum, and it's, the Deep Ellum Street, Dallas.
Yeah.
And they were posting pictures of the snow. Like, a lot of the downtown was just caked in snow. That was kind of cool. I was like, I wish we'd got that here. Yeah,
I was in Fort Worth when they got the Super Bowl at the Death Star. And there was that huge ice storm that effed everything up.
Oh, in Irving, the old Cowboy Stadium?
Yeah, it was like the Packers Super Bowl there.
I used to drive by the old stadium all the time when I'd go to my friend's house out there.
It messed everything up. But Yeah, so that's one sketch. I don't know. Just want to do like a short bit on don't do drugs, don't smoke PCP, but maybe smoke PCP, because my whole thing with PCP is that I feel like it's the funniest of drugs to say.
I don't know.
Right? Because it's two things that are funny. It's PCP, which just sounds funny to me. I don't know why. And it's also called angel dust, which I can't even say without chuckling. I just think it's funny. And then Eddie Griffith, great comedian. He has it. He uses it as a punchline sometimes. Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin is so funny. But he says PCP. And he says it when he says it funny. So don't do PCP, college baseball players or whoever might be listening to this. But let us have our jokes about, Cheech and Chong had off-color jokes.
You know what you should have?
Yeah.
If you're a baseball player and you're listening to this, go ahead, go to the store, buy you a 12-pack and get some cold PBRs, crack open those bad boys, and have some hot dogs. That's all you need, hot dogs and beer. And you're going to be a 300 hitter easily. Trust me, I know. It worked for me.
But then people get offended if you joke about anything these days, so I'm just like, all right, well, I like PCP angel dust jokes. I can't help myself. But I was going to do a public apology, but that goes off the rails like everything else. My desperate life. I don't know. And then
what did you say? Like your desperate life?
Yeah, my desperate.
What is that? What is that phrase?
As you said in confabulation with Turnstile, my shithole of a life. Of a life. Great line delivered by Dutch. Chad, I hate you there. Eddie Griffin, great comedian.
What is that phrase? I feel like your life is, like you say, you're grasping at straws.
I am grasping at straws.
It's like your last attempt, I guess, to save yourself or something.
Yeah. I think
which I never understood.
Bottom of the first.
That phrase and what the fuck it means and where it came from. I know what it means. Like, where did it come from?
Grasping at straws? I don't know. It sounds like you're grasping at something and failing.
The first time I heard it was in a Blink-182 song, and ever since then I was like, oh, so that's what it means.
But yeah, other I don't really know on the series. But anyway, we've gone through the series. We've covered everything. I didn't really have much today. I wasn't really sure if we were going to edit today or cut this show, but we're trying to be consistent.
I feel like if
Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, if we have at least one podcast a week to have something just in case we are editing,
Yeah.
And plus Tuesday our plans kind of got derailed because of the weather.
Well, yeah. I like to research, I guess, whenever we do something like this. So, would I have been looking at the 1955 World Series this morning and gone rabbit holing on Irv Noren? No. So, the podcast really makes me get into baseball stuff, like as a segment research, and I actually enjoy that. So whether nobody watches or not, I'm kind of like doing this self-education.
I just like talking baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not too into like going into depth and detail.
Yeah.
About stuff, but talking about it in general, I like.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about the older teams, because I love old baseball. I think it was fucking cool back then. I still love it. But another thing, like, I don't know, man. I want to bring back those big jerseys, but not make them wool. Make them modern.
Big baggy.
Make them modern with modern clothes and stuff, but make them that side. I love
like kind of like breathable.
Because the fucking
big baggy.
The pants went almost down to the ankles.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. They every once in a while, because they'll do the throwback day.
Yeah.
And did you ever see? It might be a baseball card, but it's definitely a photo you can find on Google. It's Ricky Henderson in like an Oakland Oaks throwback,
but it was sweet.
It's huge and baggy on him, and it's the coolest. As
we talked about on the show many times, the funniest throwback is those White Sox shorts.
Yeah, and I can't remember which show, but go back and find our show on that, because I'm saying do the shorts. Don't half step it.
I'm a knickers guy, man. I like those knickers. Those are my favorite.
The Knickerbocker pants that the golfers wear.
For those in baseball,
I guess they kind of wear them when they hike them up. But
like who was it? That always wore his pants like that. The guy that used to play for the Red Sox, the Laser Show.
Pedroia.
Yeah.
The Laser Show is such a great nickname, but and he earned it because he did that in a post-game conference. If you've ever seen that presser, it's a good one. Pedroia is so awesome. I love Dustin Pedroia.
Red Sox legend.
But yeah, do the White Sox need to do the shorts because
and It looks like a bunch of dads going to the park to play.
It will. Like the huge call, because they did it with the pants, and that was so weak. I guarantee if you do the shorts, like your center, like a couple of the outfielders will do it because they'll think it's hilarious. Like the guys that on the team that have the choice, you can choose pants or shorts. You'll be surprised how many of the dudes, especially like a pitcher, you're not really sliding, right? You just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was like the picture I saw was a picture.
So yeah, dude, like don't, because they just did pants last time. They didn't make them do the shorts. I was like, dude, just go full Monty and put the shorts.
That's like when they do the throwback. Like a lot of teams will do that '70s theme stuff.
Yeah.
And the Rays weren't around then, so they had to make up their own. And they came with something sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was like throwback days, man.
Throwback days are the best.
Especially the ones that like when they go way back, like when they wear the solid color uniforms, like who's it? I forgot what team it was, but their hat doesn't even have a logo. It's literally just a white hat with a black bill.
The real ultra throwbacks. They'll do that in the NFL too. It looks cool when
the
like
Lions.
they do just like the striped socks and
I think
the
it's
weird
what
stuff.
is it? The Packers, I think, or the the Jets. One of them has like the most ugliest uniform ever.
Yeah,
it's like brown and yellow. It's disgusting. And blue.
It's good stuff.
Makes no damn sense.
Leave our shot on the last wide shot. Nobody called the hotline again today, but what they don't realize is they get prizes like Aunt Cheryl.
I will
That's
say
a nasty breaking ball. Oh my gosh.
And if you're embarrassed to call the number, don't fucking be just because say whatever the fuck you want.
Who's pitching for Puerto
Rico? You can talk
Rico?
shit about us. You can talk about our show.
Wait
talk
a
about our
second.
Content. So
David? No, it's not David Price.
And you can even talk about how we're getting distracted by this game in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah,
you can talk about that too.
You can talk about that.
You don't have to talk about baseball. You can talk whatever. You can say, hey, you can talk about your favorite fish and why you're such a good fisherman and why you should go fishing for bass. I don't know.
My wife's a good fisherman. I'll tell you that.
I like to fish. I haven't done it in a long time. I wasn't never really doing it all the time, but I've done it when I was younger, every now and then. I grew up with a bunch of shitty white trash people that I did not like and I still don't like.
And this this is when the show is fully off the rails. It's just
pull the pin.
It's just
that's a live grenade, by the way.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid,
they were like, "Oh, that's illegal to have. You can't the alcohol, tobacco, firearms won't let you have this." I actually have from George W. Bush. A signed document that says the President of the United States of America says I can have a live frag grenade with me whenever I want because he trusts me to use it in a situation that would warrant national security. So
there's always a time and a place to throw a grenade.
That's what you do. Gotta have
last ditch
gotta
effort.
have firepower.
Fuck it.
I'm not so worried about the Second Amendment and having firearms. Can we get another amendment in there for just fragmentation grenades? I don't know.
Personally, we should get rid of the guns in general. We don't need any kind of weapons. Civilians.
I'm with you there. What I really need is one of those Saturday night specials and a Mossberg. I don't think the general population needs machine guns. I hate to get political, but I was like, dude, if you're a rancher on the border and you're dealing with a bunch of cartel dudes, okay, maybe there's a loophole in gun control. Whereas, dude, I have real reasons I need machine guns. The rest of us probably don't need machine guns. I'm just saying.
What you do is you take away all the guns and just
give me a Mossberg.
Give everybody paintball guns.
Give me a shotgun. Give me a big solid revolver.
You can still shoot with a paintball gun. It still hurts, but it won't kill them.
That's my 2 cents. It's I'm going to drive away 2 viewers politically, but I'm not because seriously, the Second Amendment, the idea the well-regulated militia is
you're going to get some Trump supporter dudes hell yeah, guns.
Well, I don't know, on either side of it, but I think the idea was with the American Revolution, we needed that stuff to get rid of the yoke of the crown of Britain who was holding us back. If we didn't have all those guns, we wouldn't have been able to pull it off. Kind of understand that, but I'm just saying the field you're on right now, if you're going to overthrow this government, you're going to need a lot of drones with mortars, and you're going to need a lot of tanks, you're going to need a lot of firepower. You're going to need more than just So, anyway.
Give everybody paintball guns. We're good.
You better learn how to make some heavy firepower on your own or get your hands on some 50 cals. So, I digress. As I like to say, which is going on our swag shirts. Thanks, Dutch, for a great show. Let me get the outro music going. After I just alienated all of our super ultra conservative pro gun listeners. I'm pro guns, just certain guns.
So
I like
you
shotguns.
like
I like
guns.
shotguns.
I don't like any kind of guns. I think they're all, in my opinion only, I think guns are stupid.
Well, you gotta have them. You can't uninvent them. I'll say that.
Do you
I'd be
need
interested
to
to see what our sound likes. I think our sound might be way too low on the broadcast.
There's a time and a place to have guns, like if you like using them to hunt, I guess, right? But like, I don't think a civilian needs AK-47, right? There's no point. I need to protect my family.
I don't think so. But,
I will say other countries have taken away guns, and it has been pretty successful with that route.
Well, the school shooting is finally it's just like, dude, at what point?
I
What point are we going to try? I don't even know if it's the right answer. I'm willing to swing in the dark blindly to try to find an answer to stop that trash from happening.
I don't condone school shootings. Obviously, I think they're terrible.
It's unbelievable.
But sometimes I feel like when there's signs where people are like talking about shit, people don't listen to those people, right?
Yeah.
And they just ignore it. Sometimes I'm not saying that's the case always, but sometimes people just like, oh, hey, Dad, some people were picking on me at school today. And like, I'll be a man. And they're like, okay, Dad, I'm going to go shoot at the school. And they're like, okay, haha. And then, obviously, it's not always the case, but like, people still get picked on. And especially with social media being everywhere, like, people post videos of people and talk shit. And
gotta do something, man.
And it's like, I don't know.
It's horrible. But anyway, if you don't want to think about that, like, we're going off the rails, watch Serie Del Caribe.
And go get some chicken ramen noodles and have yourself a little lunch,
Yeah.
because it's a solid lunch option.
Alrighty then. I think that's the show, bud. I'm very worried about our sound because I'm looking at an OBS. It's pretty low, but then maybe it's been like too high on YouTube lately, so I don't know.
Well, sometimes like when we listen to it before we go live, it sounds pretty good, but then for some reason when you hit live, it just changes it. It makes it sound different.
I don't know. It's the levels in the ATEM. It's part of it.
But we are professionals, if people don't know.
Yeah. It's all good. That song wrapped, and we'll do one more outro. All right. Thanks, folks. Till next time. I'm going to fade it. Check us out next week. We're going to try to be consistent with it. And your closer, I'm about to hit stop on
my
audition.
closing statements is when in doubt, put some pepper on it.
That's the best closer ever.
Pepper makes everything better.
See you next time. All right. Audition's off. Now let's stop the stream on YouTube.
I should do the one year thing over like I'm cool. What's up?
Oh, yeah, we've been doing this 1 year anniversary or something.